Yeah. Good morning. My God, I'm just looking now. It looks like my hair's all back. Good morning, and how are you? Well, I'm telling you what, I'm in the side by side again. I just can't help it, and I'll tell you why. Because look who's with me. She's, she don't care. Hang on now, let me see. Say hi to the crowd. Well, she's lovely. She's a cute little thing. So I thought, you know what? I'm gonna go out now and oh God, it looks so beautiful. And it was 14 degrees out, and I thought, isn't this wonderful? And I'll show you where I am. Hang on. There it is. So it was beautiful. And then the rain came, and I said, okay, well, I just can't. I mean, I can't go out in the rain. And by the end of the video, which is usually 15 or 20 minutes long, I looked like a drowned rat. And I said, no, I shan't. I said, I'll get in the trusty little side by side now, and I'll go up over the hill and see how the crowd are doing. And how are you? So what a birthday I had, and so many wonderful messages and such. Thank you for those. You know, I'll tell you what, uh, 53, I'm feeling every second of it, but I also feel like, you know what, I feel, you know, when you get this age and you never really know how old anyone is. I feel like that. I feel like I'm still quite young. And I remember this old story. You know what? I don't remember it all, so I won't tell you that because it was a story about. No, I do. It was a story about this woman went to a dentist, and anyway, she said she went into the doctor's office, and on the door it said Doctor Smith. And she said, "Oh God," she said, "a Smith." And she looked at him and thought, "My God, he's too old. I wouldn't have gone to school with him." And anyway, the she decided I'm going to mention it. She said, "You know, I grew up in the Ghouls and went to St. Kevin's." Oh, he said, "Did you?" Yeah, he said, I did too." And she said, "Yeah, that was in 1987. Oh, he said, uh, oh no, she didn't. I pulled it up. She didn't tell him the year. That was years ago. She said, did you go to St. Kevin's? Yes. He said, what did you teach? He thought she was the teacher. So it goes to show, I cocked it up. I'm sorry about that. It goes to show that we think that people are our age or older, but really, we're very likely older. And so I went to an event last night, and I'll learn that joke and tell you next week. Pretend that you're surprised, will you? Or the next time I'm on. I don't know if it'll be next week yet. I learned last night, I went to this event, and it was for Yvonne Jones, who was celebrating 25 years as a woman in politics, but they were also celebrating gender diversity in politics and how far they've come. And so anyway, and I looked around the room and I thought, Yvonne Jones, she must have been here forever. You know, for God's sake, 25 years in politics. She's 54. That means she's only 1 year older than me. And I thought, my God, I'm getting old. But I'm not. I mean, you know, I'm only 53, thank God. So anyway, for those of you who missed, I got a little, I'm here down by the fields now because it's raining. But also, look, she's cute, isn't she? Say hi to the crowd. She's going to be 20 this year. Isn't that hard to believe, Sadie the lady? So I was thinking about what am I going to tell the people now as a little sort of hint for you, you know, because I've been doing hints. And last week rather, the last time I was on was my birthday. And so I told you about getting a nice bath and that sort of thing. Well, since then, I went on to Cleaning Army. It's called the Cleaning Army. And on Facebook, I think it's called Clean Co. CO. Have a look because I went on and they were telling me, not me directly, although, you know, when you see these videos, I think they're talking directly to me. They said, Sheila, honey, clean out your closets. And so and I remember I told you this a little while ago about cleaning out your closet, but not only that, they said if it's winter and you're coming into summer, if you don't clean out your winter clothes and your winter boots and your winter coats, you will feel cluttered. And you know what? I thought that's exactly true. Last week, I got to the business of cleaning out the winters and putting in the springs. And I'll not deny it, and I'll just be honest with you. When I gave up smoking and I hurt my shoulder and I had shoulder surgery and I gave up night work, I might have put on a little tiny bit of weight, a fair bit. Well, 20 pounds. And anyway, it's been hard to get that off. And so, what I've done last year, rather than remind myself of the weight, I left the clothes over in the closet, didn't I? In mom's room. And so anyway, I thought, no, you know what? They're coming out. If they don't fit me by September, I'm getting clear of them. So there'll be some clear out in September if if I'm not into those clothes. So my point is this: bring out your clothes, wear them all. Don't put on a uniform. Where you say, oh, well, that fits and that's comfortable. No, look, what I used to do years ago when I was able to wear all my clothes in the closet is that I would rotate them. I'd put on a shirt, say, and go to work. And when I come home, I'd wash it and then I'd hang it back on the shelf with the hanger going the opposite way so that I knew, okay, I've worn that now. I'm going to wear the next one. And now this is true. That's true. And so I would wear the next one and rotate them. I always rotated my clothes. So, maybe that's something that you could think of, rotating your clothes. Now, look, here we are. It's into May. And May is the month of Mary. Now, I say this because, that's probably less so. I mean, I think it's still the month of Mary, but I think it's probably less emphasized now as it was years ago. Years ago, we used to do the rosary around mom's bed. Did you do that? Did you do the rosary? Because what we would do is we gather around mom's bed, all of us, the whole family. We would gather and look, she's getting a cute little thing. Hang on. No, that's sweet. You never saw anything sweet as that. Anyways, we gather around the bed and we'd start in Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord's with thee. Anyway, and that's the very moment where you this sort of carry on. And anyway, nudging each other. Kelly and I were never allowed really to sit next to each other. And so, anyway, mom, then we'd all take a turn and we'd do a decade on the beads. And so, a Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord's with thee. And then a litany or something. And so, Scott, who was the youngest at the time, and I can see him now in his little blue jumpers and his curly hair. He used to say, he'd like to have a turn at the rosary. He didn't advocate it for it too much, but anyway, he wanted to have a turn because he wasn't allowed. And so anyway, Mom said, yes, go ahead. And so Scott started in Hail Mary, full of grace, Lord's with thee. Blessed art, Lord's with thee. Blessed art thou. He'd say, instead of among women, he'd say, come on, women. And years later, as he got out and around and started courting, Dad said, I think he meant that years ago, come on, women, because he said once he got a hold of it, he said he never let it go after, did he? And so anyway, that was the rosary. But Mom, when she was growing up, they would do the rosary every night after supper. And Mom would say, we go down and Aunt Molly's and Uncle Peter's and we'd listen by the door because she said, if by chance you happen to open the door and they were in the midst of the rosary, even though you just did the rosary, you had to drop right to your knees again. And Mom would do it too. My God, she was so flexible. She'd fall right down to her knees and say, Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. And she said, and we'd start in with the rosary and the decade, and we'd each take a turn. Oh, she said it went on and on and on. So she said, we were only caught a couple of times. She said, we'd listen to the window, and if they were doing the rosary, we went on without them. So that's May. Does anyone still do the rosary? You know what? I remember, my God, it was just so wonderful, a memory of of sitting and praying together, and we don't do that anymore. I remember when we were able to choose mass on our own. My brother decided, that he'd let the children decide on their own. And so anyway, when one week he didn't go to mass, Mom said, "Hey, darling, how come the youngsters didn't go to mass?" He said, "Well, Mom," he said, "I'd figure I'd let them make their own decisions." "Oh yes," she said, "I remember letting my youngsters choose whether or not they wanted to go to mass. I used to say, 'Get in the car and don't make your father late.'" And this was the truth. God love her. That's just as true as possible. So anyway, what's all your news? Do you have any good news? Anyone traveling? Are you planning a little trip? Because I think really, I feel like yesterday was a beautiful day. I feel like the summer is here. I feel like this is our best time in Newfoundland and Labrador, and these are the times that I want to stay home now and have a little trip in the winter or something. Is this what you're doing? So before I go, I will tell you, I was at this event last night, and I was trying to be nice and trying to be funny, and I was hastening back to years ago when I took lessons from um, Ignatius Rumbold. Do you remember him? He was so accomplished and so esteemed, and he was an orphan, and he grew up in Mount Cashel, and he then became one of Newfoundland's finest musicians and teachers. And anyway, he taught me. Dad, he used to was the choir director for St. John's Choir, and Dad got me in to see him and to take lessons from him. And anyway, he was the type of gentleman that put on his coat before he went to the door, and he combed his hair and this sort of thing. That was before he even went to the door to answer it in the middle of the day. And so, blazer. And I'd be there for singing lessons, and I'd come home, and Dad would ask me what I learned and that sort of thing. But it was piano lessons at first. And so for the piano lessons, I saw that uh, he was teaching other people voice, and I'm bursting, and I would always practice. I would practice Anne Murray. Now, I loved Anne Marie, and I've really had her down, practiced her how she moved her forehead and that's as she sang and all these things. And so, anyway, when Mr. Rumble finally said, "Sheila, are you able to sing?" "Oh, God, yes," I said, "Indeed, I can." Ready, bursting. And he said, "Well, yes, please go ahead." And so I started in. Hang on, now, Sadie. I sang, "Beneath the snowy mantle, cold and clean, the unborn grass lies waiting for its coat to turn to green. The snowbird sings the song he always sings, and he speaks to me of flowers that will bloom again in spring." Or, "Oh, I could hide beneath the wing of a bluebird as she sings. The 6 o'clock alarm would never ring." Well, when he heard it, he said, I waited. I thought, he's going to be so impressed. He said, "Well," he said, "I never want to hear you sing her again." He said, "She might have made money, but," he said, "you won't make money mocking her." I thought, but I said, "You know what?" I thought of it. He said, "No," he said, "no, you're not to imitate." He said, "I'll teach you." And so he did. He did teach me. Uh, Santa Lucia, this sort of carry on. So that didn't last as long as you might think. And so anyway, years later, after I did my hours and hours and days and weeks of therapy to get over the fact that I had been told not to sing Anne Murray anymore, only for he was dead, I wanted to say, "Darling, I made a fortune mocking her after," because I will hook it out at parties and such. So there you are. Those are my stories for the week. Now tell me, remember, you're telling me, do you still do the rosary? Are you doing any traveling? And I have one more story to tell you, and it's only a little sort of thing. This farmer, one of Dad's friends, had a donkey. You don't see donkeys around much anymore, but anyway, he had a donkey, and the donkey, was his sort of his tag along. It was like an old dog, he used to come along. And anyway, the old fella had his wife was in the barn with him, and his mother-in-law was quite cantankerous and crooked. And anyway, the mother-in-law came down to the barn and was complaining about something. The next thing, the donkey kicked out, struck the mother-in-law. The mother fell down dead. The donkey killed the mother-in-law. And anyway, my God, they felt terrible about it. And they were having the funeral, and the fellow was going along, and the donkey was leading the hearse, sort of thing, and it was in a community, and they were all walking to the church with the hearse in tow, and yeah, that's right. And so anyway, you could see as they were doing the receiving line that the old fellow would say, yes, thank you. No. And it was every second time sort of thing, yes, thank you. No. And anyway, after a while, one of his friends he said, what are you saying? He said, yes and no. He said, they're saying, it's a great loss. And I'd say yes. And the husband would come up and say, can I get a lend to the donkey? He said, no, booked up. Great loss. No, booked up. Booked up for a year trying to get clear of the mother-in-laws. Anyway, listen, God love you. Have a wonderful couple of weeks. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time. Next week's May 24th. Are you going anywhere? Is it 20? Yeah. Yeah. Next week. So it's May 24th. We have another little look. Say hi, Sid. She's the best dog. Say the lady. She's the best. I wrote her a little song. You probably didn't know. Okay, I'll sing it for you. Here's a nice. She's the best dog in the world. She's the best dog in the world. She's not a lot of words to it, but a nice song. She's the best dog, the best dog in the world. Amen. Have a wonderful week. Love to you.